But in reality, she was so angry her chest was heaving. She remembered that slightly heavier upper-class woman. She was big too, but not as big as herself. She'd come to the shop looking for Cole before. Thankfully, Cole hadn't looked at her. The three women had different thoughts, but a shared target. They all recognized Yvonne. Jasmine had seen her many times, Serena had seen her on Catbird Lane, and Luna had seen her on Tuesday when she went for reimbursement. So they relaxed. 15 minutes later, it was the four judges' turn to speak. Another 10 minutes after that, it was finally over. The students in the stands, half asleep, sighed in relief. As the host announced the successful conclusion of the competition, they all stood up, cheering. Guided by the Headline Today promotions team, they began to file out in an orderly fashion. Cole quickly went over to shake hands with the various leaders and professors, humbly accepting their encouragement. After seeing them off, he glanced at the stands. His fragrant, creamy, and fruity darlings were still sitting there. Holy crap, why haven't they left? They aren't waiting for me. I'm doomed. This is a disaster. He wasn't worried about Jasmine and Luna, but Serena was very likely to launch herself at him. Cole cleared his throat and addressed Yvonne with a solemn expression. Yvonne, I have an important mission for you. You want me to escort the three of them back, right? Yvonne's eyes were practically screaming. I've been waiting for you to say that. A flash of inspiration hit Cole. Yes, it's late. It's not safe for three girls to go back alone. You got it, Mr. Chun. You'll owe me for this one, Yvonne said with a playful wink. Fine, I'll owe you, Cole said, exasperated. This manager was too smart for her own good. But for a promotions expert, that was exactly what he needed. As the audience left, the volunteers began to clean up, with the Headline Today team pitching in. Yvonne walked briskly over to where the three girls were already heading in their direction. Cole was a bundle of nerves, mentally cheering Yvonne on. Hurry, intercept them, send them home. He watched as Yvonne started talking to the three women. They were about 40 yards away, but something seemed to be wrong. Yvonne turned her head and started blinking frantically. Cole realized something was amiss. Thinking fast, he waved his hands and shouted across the gym, You guys go on ahead. I have to stay behind for a bit. In this situation, a wide-net broadcast was always the right move. He saw Serena make a disappointed O shape with her mouth, her eyes full of reluctance. Luna's eyes were filled with a longing to go with him. Jasmine was more understanding and simply nodded. The four women turned and walked toward the exit together. Cole finally let out a breath. As long as they weren't all with him, the whole thing wouldn't collapse. He leisurely watched the staff clean up the venue, estimating the time. When he figured the four of them were probably by the road waiting for a car, he slowly made his way to the backstage tunnel. Finally, he could use the restroom. He had just finished when his phone rang. It was Serena. Hey, Cole, where are you? Oh, I'm in the restroom backstage. Are you in a car? Cole asked casually as he zipped up his pants. Nope, I just got to the backstage entrance. I'm coming in. The second half of her sentence was no longer coming from the phone. It was echoing from just outside the restroom. She was already inside. Cole felt a jolt. Don't tell me they all came back. Yvonne, what did you do? Okay, wait for me. I'm coming out now. He walked nervously out of the restroom, past the locker room, and saw Serena in the makeup room. Thankfully, she was alone. She was wearing a cream-colored high-neck cashmere sweater and skinny jeans that hugged her long, toned legs. Her delicate, beautiful face was alight with joy. She stomped her foot, opened her arms, and called out petulantly, Cole, I need a hug. It's been days since I got a hug. Come here, then. Cole smiled and opened his arms. If his creamy campus belle missed him this much, what else was there to say? He had to give her a hug. Her long legs carried her forward in a joyful sprint, and she leaped at him from a yard away. Cole caught her in a full embrace, his hands supporting her perky rear. Serena was ecstatic, kicking her legs like a child. She rubbed her cheek against his, humming contentedly. In their current position, Cole had basically fulfilled the promises from his love letter. Cole, I missed you so much. Serena planted a light kiss on his cheek, then straightened her head so their noses were touching. Seeing her cherry-red lips right in front of him, a fire ignited in Cole's heart. He leaned in and pressed a kiss to her mouth. The same softness, a different fragrance. Cole, we're kissing. MMPH. Before she could finish, Cole had silenced her. MMPH. MMPH. Serena's eyes widened. A moment later, she wrapped her arms tightly around his neck and closed her eyes. Their lips and tongues intertwined, a sweet, all-consuming dance. Cole, the seasoned veteran, savored the moment while sneakily turning off his phone. He didn't know how many minutes had passed when a sudden knock came from the door. Knock, knock, knock. Cole, are you in there? It was Jasmine's voice. A bolt of lightning struck Cole's brain. instantly snapping him out of the sweet bliss of their kiss. His body went rigid. This is bad. Why is Jasmine here? Knock, knock, knock. The knocking came again, but the door didn't open. Cole's heart leaped into his throat. Sensing the kiss had lost its intensity, Serena let out a soft sound and broke away. What's wrong? MMPH. She was silenced again. Cole had no heart to savor it this time. He gave her a light kiss and then whispered, "Chill. Someone from the company is looking for me. It wouldn't be good if they saw." "Oh," Serena whispered back, coming to her senses. She obediently rested her head on his chest. Thinking about their passionate kiss made her feel hot all over. It was their first real kiss. The taste was so nice. Cole, holding the girl who seemed drunk on their kiss, moved with light, swift steps toward the locker room. He slipped inside and gently closed the door, not even checking if it was the men's or women's room in his haste. A moment later, he heard footsteps outside. There were at least 2 or 3 people, and their steps sounded familiar. Where did everyone go? It was Jasmine. Maybe they're in the restroom. Luna's soft voice followed. Could they be over by the other tunnel entrance? Yvonne's voice speculated. Serena clung to Cole, not daring to breathe. She was fully sober now. If his sister and the people from the company saw them hiding in here, kissing, how embarrassing would that be? Cole had a very bad feeling. The restroom is the only option. He carried Serena into the restroom and glanced around. Phew, men's room. He slipped into a stall and locked the door. Serena was like a little limpet, refusing to get down no matter where they went. Cole held the beautiful, soft, fragrant girl in his arms and sighed. The timing could not have been worse. His heart was pounding, and he was kicking himself. Why did I get so greedy? I should have just coaxed her to go home. Soon, the footsteps entered the locker room. Crap, it's just a few steps to the restroom. They wouldn't check every single stall, would they? Cole felt a wave of despair. Knowing Jasmine, she absolutely would check every single stall. Yvonne, you're unreliable. But at this point, all he could do was face the music. If Jasmine got angry and broke things off, he would have to shamelessly cling to her for the rest of his life. The footsteps were right outside the restroom door. Cole took a deep breath, preparing himself for the worst. Just then, he heard Yvonne speak. Director Young, Cole definitely wouldn't be in here. Serena probably got lost looking for the restroom and went down the wrong tunnel. Let's go check over there. I think he said something about settling payments with the student union. Fine, let's go look there, Jasmine said coolly, her tone unreadable. That guy? His phone is probably dead. The sound of their footsteps and voices gradually faded as they left the locker room. The heart that had been stuck in Cole's throat finally dropped back into his chest. In his arms, Serena looked up at him with wide, dark eyes and stuck her tongue out playfully. Let's go. You can wait outside for them and go back together, Cole said softly. Okay, Serena obediently agreed, then puckered her lips for another kiss. Cole obliged, giving her 2 quick pecks. Just then, he heard footsteps outside again. He jumped back in fright. Mister Chun, coast is clear. Come on out. Yvonne called from the locker room. Serena stuck her tongue out again and slid down from Cole's arms. Cole opened the door and was met with an awkward sight. Yvonne was waiting for him in the locker room. Mister Chun, you go around the outside. Be quick. Serena, you come with me. Without another word, Yvonne grabbed Serena's hand and started pulling her away. She didn't bother explaining how she knew he was in there. Serena, in a bit, just say you were looking for the restroom and got lost. There's still a lot of headline today employees around. It wouldn't be good for them to know the boss was having a secret meeting in here. Okay, Serena said. She glanced back once before following Yvonne. Cole let out a sigh of relief. He wouldn't be so reckless next time. He had to be more careful. It was his own fault for being greedy. He went back to the restroom, splashed cold water on his face, and then slipped out of the backstage area, circling around the outside like a thief. Yvonne led Serena a short distance, not back into the gym, but toward the exit. Serena, you should grab a cab back to campus first. If Director Young asks you later, just say you went into that restroom, realized it was the men's and left, then got turned around on your way out. Okay, I can handle it. You can go back now. Thank you, Serena said, pulling her hand away. Her expression was calm, her tone and eyes revealing a cool composure that was a world away from the girl in Cole's arms. It took Yvonne by surprise. She had always thought Serena was a completely pure and innocent girl. But this demeanor, for a fleeting moment, she had the illusion that she wasn't looking at Serena, but at a doppelganger, a brilliant, calculating heiress from a powerful family. Did I misjudge her? You're welcome. I'll see you next time. Oh, right. Your perfume is in the restroom, Yvonne said, flustered by this mysterious aura. She said something she hadn't planned to. I know. Goodbye, Serena replied, then turned and walked toward the road. There were still some students chatting nearby, and it was still early, so it was safe. There were plenty of taxis, and Serena quickly got into one. Her eyes were perfectly calm, her thoughts crystal clear. With Cole and without Cole were two different things. Both were her. Her longing for him was as real as it got. If she had been discovered, she would have used it to declare her ownership. Since the lingering scent wasn't enough to give her away, then so be it. She would let nature take its course. She had sensed a crisis today. Too many girls had their eyes on her Cole. It was dangerous. Suddenly, the feeling of his kiss rushed back to her. The clarity in her eyes instantly faded, replaced by shyness and warmth. She leaned her head against the car window, replaying the sensations, a small smile gracing her lips. Inside the gym, Cole took a long lap around before accidentally running into Jasmine and Luna. "HM, I thought you two went back. Your legal counsel went to the restroom and disappeared. We were afraid she wasn't familiar with the place, so we came back to look for her. By the way, is your phone dead?" Jasmine's voice was calm, her eyes serene. But that very calmness felt to Cole like the eerie quiet before a storm. He suppressed the awkward feeling of being caught cheating and said, feigning annoyance, "It died. The student union probably couldn't find me." Jasmine grunted, her expression unreadable. Luna just stood there quietly, her eyes full of tenderness. Jasmine took out her phone, typed a quick reply, and then said, "Let's go back. Your legal counsel said she took a wrong turn and couldn't find us, so she grabbed a cab back by herself." Her eyes flashed with an inscrutable light that made Cole's heart pound with panic. Yvonne stood to the side, pretending to watch the promo team cleaning up, but her heart was thumping. She'd always thought of herself as quick-witted, emotionally intelligent, and decisive, a natural leader in the marketing department. But in the span of a few short minutes, she just witnessed what a true queen's aura felt like. All it took was a single glance. Both Jasmine, their director, and that sweet-faced Serena had transformed in an instant. They were impossible to read, their depths unfathomable. Yvonne felt a wave of uncertainty. Did she really have the nerve to step onto a battlefield like this? Her gaze shifted to Luna, who remained quiet and gentle. What about her? Yvonne wondered. Would she be an easier person to figure out? Just then, Luna turned and offered her a soft, harmless smile. Yvonne felt a small sense of relief. This one, at least, seemed genuinely gentle. She smiled back. The four of them hailed a cab. Yvonne took the front passenger seat. Cole sat in the middle of the back, with Luna on his left and Jasmine on his right. Jasmine's expression was neutral, but she didn't say a word, just stared out the window at the passing cars and pedestrians. The silence in the cab was unnervingly heavy. When they reached the gates of Eastwood University, Jasmine got out first, letting Cole and Luna slide out from the inside. Then, instead of leaving, she got back in. Cole was about to say, "Text me when you get back, sis," when Jasmine commanded, "Get in. Take me back to my campus. I need to talk to you." "Oh." Cole obediently ducked back into the car. He never disobeyed an order from Jasmine. Luna watched him go, her eyes full of words she couldn't say. Finally, she turned and walked onto campus with Yvonne. As the car pulled away, Jasmine leaned close to Cole and began sniffing him all over, his arms, his chest, his neck. "Sis, what's wrong?" Cole's heart hammered, but he kept his expression calm, tinged with only a hint of confusion. The taxi driver glanced in the rearview mirror, his face a mask of bewilderment. Jasmine didn't answer, just kept sniffing until her face was close to his lips. Cole seized the opportunity and stole a quick kiss. That finally stopped her. She gave his shoulder a light, annoyed punch, and she just stared at him. "Did your classmate come find you?" "No, why?" "I thought she was with you guys," Cole said, his heart pounding furiously. But years of practice had made his poker face unshakable. He even managed to look surprised. Thank God he'd had the foresight to duck into a restroom and splash his face with cold water, wiping down his jacket with a wet hand. He'd even taken it off and flapped in the wind for a minute. And thank God Serena didn't wear perfume, just a faint scent from her shampoo and face cream. Otherwise, he'd never have gotten rid of it. Jasmine didn't respond, turning again to stare out the window, lost in thought. Her silence made Cole's stomach churn with a familiar mix of anxiety and guilt. He reached over and took her hand. It was ice cold. He pulled it into his lap, then tucked it under his own shirt, pressing it against the warmth of his stomach. Jasmine didn't pull away. She let him warm her hand, remaining perfectly still and silent. Seeing her like this twisted something in his gut, and a wave of profound guilt washed over him. He took her hand back out, then shifted his body, laying his head in her lap. He took her hand again and slipped it inside the collar of his shirt, pressing it against his warm chest. Then he did the same with her other cold hand. Cole lowered his gaze, sighing internally. He was a mess, a real scumbag, and he'd somehow found himself caught between these incredible women. All he could do was be as good to Jasmine as he possibly could. He'd asked himself if he could let any of them go, and the honest answer was no. Not unless they left him first. He was prepared for that, too. Life was unpredictable, after all. As he was thinking this, he looked up and met Jasmine's gaze. Her bright eyes were looking down at him. They held each other's stare for what felt like a full minute before she suddenly broke into a grin. "Look at you," she teased, "acting like you're the one who's been wronged." "I'm a little wronged," Cole said, sensing an opening and seizing it. "You weren't talking to me." "Oomph. I want something from you," Jasmine said, her expression turning serious as she gently pinched his cheek. "Anything, sis. Whatever I have is yours. I want all your money." She stared at him, her eyes unblinking, the light in them seeming to freeze in place. "Okay," Cole said without a moment's hesitation. "Headline today, The Tea Alchemist, all of it. I'll sign it all over to you for $1. The cash, too. We could go to a lawyer first thing in the morning." He was completely serious from the bottom of his soul. If this woman asked for it, he would give it. If she decided she was done with him afterward, he'd just start over. What was there to be afraid of? He'd consider it repayment for all the years she'd cared for him, and for all the ways he'd failed her in his past life. Jasmine was silent, studying his face. After a long moment, she finally spoke. "You'd really give it all up just like that?" "It's just stuff. It's not worth a single strand of your hair," Cole said, a deep affection rising in his eyes. "You can have my life." If this was where their story ended, he would have no regrets. But deep down, he knew she wouldn't do that. She was testing him. Still, the emotion he felt was real. Smack! Jasmine tapped him lightly on the lips. "Don't say such stupid things," she chided. Cole reached up, wrapping a hand around the back of her neck and gently pulling her down. Jasmine knew what he wanted and yielded, lowering her head. Their lips met in a passionate, searching kiss. The driver glanced in the mirror again and chuckled silently to himself. He'd already reached Eastwood Tech, but he kept driving, heading for an intersection where he could make a U-turn. He might as well earn a little extra. These two were clearly busy. When their lips parted, a thin strand of saliva connected them for a moment before Jasmine leaned in and broke it. Her eyes were full of a soft light. "You're my life," she whispered. "Sis." Cole's heart felt like it was going to burst. His eyes stung. "Sis, you're my life, too." A sharp pinch on his cheek. "Where did you learn to say things like that?" "I didn't. You just said it to me," Cole said, baffled by her sudden change. "I was testing you. I knew you'd just copy me," she said, releasing his cheek only to pinch his side. "Ow. Hey, that hurts." When the car finally stopped at the gates of Eastwood Tech, the driver turned with a grin. "That'll be $24. He'd driven them around in circles 4 times. He sighed. Would he ever get passengers like this again? Jasmine grabbed her bag, waved at Cole to go back to campus, and stood at the gate, watching until the bus he boarded pulled away and blocked him from view. Only then did she turn and walk toward her dorm, oblivious to the stares from those around her. Her mind was replaying the night's events. She was sure she'd smelled Serena's scent in the restroom, but the scent on her brother was faint, almost non-existent. She couldn't be 100% certain. It might have just been a lingering phantom in her own nose. And had that classmate of his really gone back to find him? She couldn't be sure of that, either. She had wanted to trick him, to trap him. Ever since they were kids, he'd always fallen for it. But the moment he'd taken her cold hands and pressed them against his warm chest, her resolve had crumbled. In the end, she'd asked a question she didn't need an answer to, just to test him. The answer she received had left her deeply satisfied, soothing all her anxieties. The money wasn't important. His decisive, unwavering attitude was. Her brother loved her. She'd received the message, loud and clear. But still, it was time to be on guard. Jasmine took out her phone, intending to send a message to Serena. After a moment's thought, she put it away. Some things required a steady hand. If there really was something going on, that girl, Yvonne, would definitely know the truth. Thinking back, Jasmine recalled Yvonne's behavior. It had been just a little bit suspicious. She'd have to find a time to test her. Meanwhile, Cole was humming a tune as he walked happily back toward Eastwood University. He needed the walk to clear his head. It was hard to say if Jasmine knew anything. Maybe she did. Maybe she was bluffing. Either way, with Jasmine, showing weakness was always the best and only strategy. Banking on her affection for him, Cole felt a little shameless. But what could he do? He wanted them all. He got back to the dorm around 10:30 at night and was immediately struck by a strange atmosphere. His 3 roommates were dead silent. A quick scan of the room revealed the problem. It was Frank. He looked like his soul had been sucked out of his body. Preston, their wealthy roommate, caught Cole's eye and jabbed his chin toward Frank, mouthing the word. Broke up. Cole was surprised. It hadn't even been 3 months. Weren't they doing great? What's going on? Cole asked Frank directly. Frank's eyelids twitched. He let out a weak, exhausted sigh, but didn't speak. What's the point of hiding it? Maybe Cole has some advice, Preston said, hopping down from his bunk. He got cheated on. What? Cole was stunned. The girl had seemed so quiet and sweet. How could she have cheated on him so soon? Frank's head hung low, as if he were on the verge of expiring. His silence was a confession. The girl he was dating met some upperclassmen during freshman orientation, Preston explained, acting as narrator. Good-looking guy, a dancer and singer. They added each other on Facebook right away. He's about Frank's height, a pretty boy type. Frank saw on her Facebook messages that she'd sent the guy leg pics and, Preston left the rest unsaid, but Cole understood. He really hadn't seen that coming. How'd you see them? Cole asked, curious. We were out, and she went to the bathroom to change her. Her phone was in my hand, so I took a look, Frank said, his voice trembling and his face pale. Cole could only imagine the gut-wrenching moment of discovery. Cole fell silent. The guy was clearly owed a night of commiseration and probably a lot of beer. There's nothing else to say, man, he offered. You were right to break up with her. There are plenty of fish in the sea. You lost one, go catch another. But Cole, I can't stand being the one who got cheated on, Frank said, his face a mask of agony. Cole thought for a moment. That thing. Did your team score in this particular game? Frank didn't get it. He's asking if you slept with her. Preston, the ever-helpful translator, chimed in. Dude, of course I did. I'm not an idiot. Frank shot back with a flash of pride. Was she a virgin? Preston, the gossip hound, asked with a sly grin. No, Frank said, his brief moment of pride deflating. Well, there you go, Cole said, propping his feet up on his desk and tilting his chair back onto 2 legs. You didn't lose anything then. It's not like it was her first time, and it was some profound, life-changing experience. You broke up. The next one will be better. But I feel so ripped off. If she was already messing around with someone else, why was she still with me? Frank seethed. Honestly, man, that girl was just average, Preston scoffed. You in a wig would look better. What do you need her for? Dude, can you find another way to comfort me? Frank shot him a look that could kill, nearly fainting from the insult. Cole nodded in agreement. Preston's right. Frank, with your looks, you could totally find someone prettier. Huh? What do you mean? Frank suddenly perked up. Was there some hidden charm he wasn't aware of? Pretty girls don't like handsome, fair-skinned guys. You know why? Cole said, a mysterious look on his face. Why? It wasn't just Frank who was interested. Javi had materialized beside them. Because they look in the mirror, Cole said, revealing the punchline. The others didn't seem to get it. And girls who aren't so pretty love handsome, fair-skinned guys. You know what? The 3 of them stayed silent, waiting for the answer. Because they also look in the mirror, Cole said with a wink. It took them a second, but then they burst out laughing. Haha, that actually makes sense. Like you and that campus queen, Preston said. Javi nodded vigorously. Totally. Hey, I'm handsome, okay? Cole grumbled. What is wrong with you people's eyes? His 3 roommates looked at him in silence, a new thought dawning on them. Could Cole's weird theory actually be true? After a moment, Frank slumped again. But I still feel so ripped off. Cole didn't have any great solutions. It wasn't like they could go beat the guy up. Then, an idea sparked in his mind. Frank, Headline Today has a fiction section, right? Not really. I haven't been online much lately. Frank's eyes were blank. Go on Headline Today and make an account. Write your story. Call it, My Ex-Girlfriend's Billionaire Regret. What the hell? Frank looked completely lost. You want me to write about my ex sending dirty pictures to some pretty boy dancer? Don't be so dense. Cole rolled his eyes. Just mention in passing. Write a revenge story. After you're reborn, you become a master of all talents. You crush the dancer, become the hottest guy on campus, and then your ex comes back crying and begging you to take her back. But by then, you're already dating the campus queen. Anyone who got into Eastwood University had to have decent writing skills. If Frank put his mind to it, he could definitely pull it off. And then what? Frank asked, his eyes still glazed over with confusion. Then you submit it. I'll have the editors approve it and give you a featured spot, Cole said, stroking his chin. You'll become a famous short story writer. In the future, your ex will have to look up to you. There are thousands of guys in your situation on campus. If we promote enough, it could easily go viral. The fiction section needs more content like this. It'll make students even more hooked on Headline Today. You think that'll work? Frank was still skeptical. Just try it. God, stop whining. Preston said impatiently. So, I should try it. Get to it. Channel your grief into literary power. Show us what you've got. I'll have the editorial team give you some pointers, Cole said, realizing this helped him as much as it helped his roommate. He added a little more motivation. Remember, this is your only chance to completely crush that pretty boy. Looks mean nothing in the face of real power. Once your story blows up, you can pay him a dance for you, throw the money in his face, and then, as your ex watches with tears of regret, you turn and walk away. And just for fun, you'll have already stolen his new girlfriend. Do it, man. Cole just made you a promise. Don't let it go to waste, Preston added, fanning the flames. Steal his new girlfriend? A glint appeared in Frank's eyes. He clenched his jaw. I'm in. Shaking himself back to life, he sat down at his desk and booted up his old Lenovo laptop. The next day, Cole held a short meeting. He quickly summarized the lessons learned from the dance competition, praised the key personnel, and laid out their new tasks. First, the planning and advertising departments will merge into a new advertising and strategy department, with Whitney Yuan as the supervisor. I want you to start promoting the dance competition across Headline Today immediately to maximize its reach. Second, we're establishing a new marketing department, with Yvonne as the supervisor. This will oversee both promotions and sales. Start screening potential business clients around the university campuses and prepare for a major push to sell ads on Headline Today. Third, the editorial department can now start selecting high-quality short fiction for review, contracts, and ongoing support. Fourth, the engineering team will continue to optimize Headline Today's algorithm. I want our best content to get more visibility. Just as the meeting ended, his phone rang. It was Jordan Liu. Hey, Jordan. Cole, my friend, I've got a client for you. You free? Absolutely. Where are you? I'll come to you, Cole said, his spirits soaring. This referral was perfectly timed. He was just starting to worry that he didn't have enough successful case studies for his ad platform. Come to my lounge bar on North Lake at 2:30 this afternoon. You got it. See you then. After hanging up, Cole focused, mentally outlining his potential talking points. Yvonne was busy breaking down tasks for a new department, so he'd have to go alone. At 2:30 on the dot, Cole arrived at the Orchid Lounge. The bar was already open, with a few customers inside. Soft, soothing music played as couples and small groups of friends spoke in low voices. Cole went up to the second floor. Jordan wasn't in the office. Instead, a woman was sitting on the sofa, one leg crossed over the other, talking on the phone. She looked to be in her early 30s, with a face he'd rate at least an 8. 5 out of 10. She was about 5'5", with a figure that looked explosive under a form-fitting purple V-neck sweater dress and black stockings. Her makeup was subtle, giving her the look of a chic, sexy, and mature woman, but her aura was one of class and long-accustomed privilege. Cole took it all in with a single glance, instantly analyzing her appearance and making a rough assessment of her personality. Been a while since she's gotten any, he thought clinically. The woman looked up, her gaze deep and penetrating. Cole offered a polite nod and a smile. Hi, I'm looking for Jordan. Just then, he heard footsteps on the stairs, and Jordan's voice followed. Over here. Cole, my friend, come on in and sit, Jordan said, leading him into the office. The woman ended her call with a quick, I have something, I'll call you back, and hung up. There were 3 sofas in the office's reception area. The woman was on the long one in the middle. Jordan gestured for Cole to sit on the sofa to the woman's right, while she took the one opposite them. Auntie, this is Cole, Jordan said. Cole, this is my Aunt Vanessa Fan. Hello. Hello. Cole and Vanessa reached out and shook hands. Her hand was soft and cool. Although his aunt was only giving him a cursory glance, Cole felt like her deep-set eyes had already sized him up completely. He'd met his match. He was the same way, able to read someone and create a rough profile in an instant. But he figured his own disguise was pretty good. She wouldn't be able to see through him. Auntie, you can tell him yourself, Jordan said, leaning back on the sofa, clearly not interested in being the middleman. Vanessa's lips curved into a smile, her gaze polite but appraising. You're so young, Cole. I was expecting someone older. Please call me Cole, he said with a humble smile. I'm friends with Jordan, no need for formalities. He could feel her still observing him, as if she wouldn't rest until she'd figured him out. Well, I heard about your work from Jordan, and I've seen her financial reports for the last few weeks. The growth is truly astonishing, Vanessa said, her eyes still locked on him, a smile playing on her full, red lips. Her speech was crisp and standard American English, unlike Jordan's slight local accent. I own 2 seafood buffet restaurants myself, one at the Gallery and one at the Jianshan Plaza. I'm not afraid to admit, business is terrible. I'm on the verge of closing down. She had seamlessly switched to calling him Cole. A move he felt stemmed not from his friendship with her niece, but from her own sense of status. Sitting closer, Cole noticed the high quality of her purple sweater dress. It had to be top-grade silk. Even her black stockings had a smooth, soft sheen. He'd never touched anything like them, but as practiced, I could judge these things in a flash. For an old dog like him, these were essential skills. Is it only seafood? Do you have things like barbecue? Cole asked. He'd never been to either location, but they were both near universities, which should have been prime real estate. Yes, we have other things too, Vanessa nodded. Her hair was swept back in a simple, elegant bun, giving her a very chic, sophisticated look. She'd probably spent some time in Europe. Have you done any advertising? Cole asked, consciously forcing his eyes not to drift down to her black stockings. She was a potential client. Money was more important. Andy, Cole, you two talk. I'm going to make a call, Jordan said, looking a little sleepy. It wasn't her business, so she wasn't particularly interested. She got up and left. Only when we first opened, Vanessa admitted, not paying her niece any mind. I understand. Let me give you my analysis. If I'm wrong about anything, please forgive me. Cole barely had to think. The root of the problem was obvious. Go ahead, Cole, Vanessa said, seeming intrigued. But Cole noted that the calculating look in her eyes hadn't changed. First, you don't have enough publicity. There are a ton of dining options around here. A buffet isn't like a classic restaurant or a snack stall. If you don't get the word out, no one even knows you exist. Second, your branding is a problem. The Caspian Grill sounds high-end. The average student wouldn't dare go in, even though it's perfect for group dinners. The name is intimidating. In this era, the average student heard grill or seafood and assumed it was terrifyingly expensive. And it usually was. It wasn't a place people would go on a whim. I agree with you, Cole. I thought the same thing. I kept it going because I thought the local spending power was decent, Vanessa said, nodding repeatedly. For the first time, she seemed to feel that this 18-year-old kid actually had some substance. She was about to say more when a girl's voice called from the bottom of the stairs. Mom, come down. I think Yuan hurt his paw. Oh, okay. What happened? Vanessa's face filled with alarm, as if this Yuan was incredibly important. She scrambled to her feet, trying to take a shortcut between Cole and the coffee table. In her haste, the toe of her high heel caught on the table leg. She stumbled. She was about to fall face first into the corner of the table. A direct hit could easily break her nose. Cole's reflexes kicked in. He shot out a hand, grabbing her shoulder, while his other arm formed a barrier across her waist, stopping her momentum just in the nick of time. He managed to catch her just before she crashed into the coffee table. Hearing Vanessa's cry, the girl who had called for her mother came clattering up the stairs. Because Vanessa had twisted her ankle when her foot hit the table, she was in too much pain to stand up on her own. Before she could regain her balance, a young woman burst into the room. What are you two doing? Cole's scalp tingled. He glanced over, mortified. It was that cool, aloof girl, Lynn, and she was staring at him with undisguised anger. You gotta be kidding me. I didn't do anything. He quickly adopted a concerned expression. Ms. Fan, is your foot okay? It hurts a little. I think I hit the bone. Lynn, help me up, Vanessa said, realizing how her daughter might misinterpret the scene. A blush crept up her face. Mom, what happened? Lynn's eyes darted to Cole's hands. She saw that one arm was supporting her mother's body, his fist clenched, while the hand on her shoulder was open-palmed. She relaxed slightly. At least his hands were being gentlemanly. She hurried over to support her mother. Cole took the opportunity to let go, sighing internally. No good deed goes unpunished. He felt so constrained. This was the effect his 3 girls had on him. Otherwise, he would have just wrapped his arms around her and set her upright. To hell with appearances. Lynn, let's go check on Yuan, Vanessa said, limping and not daring to put weight on her foot, but still preoccupied with this Yuan. Cole glanced at her foot. The shoe was covering it, so it was probably fine. She was likely just used to being pampered and was afraid to walk on it. Cole, please have a seat for a moment, Vanessa said, finally remembering him as she was leaving. Of course. Cole remained in the office, feeling awkward and bored. He could faintly hear the mother and daughter talking. Why are you so sensitive? He's about your age. You're making a scene. How was I supposed to know? I thought you were being taken advantage of. How could I be taken advantage of? It would be nice if you gave me less grief. What if? I was just trying to protect you. Cole rolled his eyes. I'd have to be crazy to make a move on her. Why would I bother with an older woman when I have 3 fresh, young beauties? She's probably got wrinkles and a bad attitude. Maybe her hormones are out of whack and she smells bad. As an experienced man, Cole found that prospect highly unappealing. No, he needed to go home and get a dose of his girl's sweet scent to soothe his wounded soul. He waited for a while, but no one came back up. What was the deal? Was this Yuan really that important? After another few minutes, Jordan finally reappeared. She looked apologetic. Cole, my friend, my aunt went home to put some ointment on her foot. She wants to reschedule for tomorrow at her office. Oh, that's fine. I'll head back to campus then, Cole said with a smile. There was a chance. That helping hand hadn't been for nothing. Back at the university, he checked the time. Instead of going to the office, he went back to the dorm to get his books for class. Besides closing the deal with Vanessa, he didn't have anything else urgent. He actually sat through class until 8 o'clock that night. Preston and Javi were shocked. Frank had an excused absence, but Cole, Mr. Skip Class Champion, was actually trying to be a good student? As it turned out, no. The next morning, Cole was back to his old ways. He had to skip. At 7 a.m., he received a text from Jordan with Vanessa's office address and their meeting time. The Gallery, Office Tower A, Suite 3320. 10:30 a.m. I have to close this deal, Cole told himself. A big buffet like hers would need a long-term ad contract. It would be a significant and steady source of revenue. He thought about asking someone to go with him, but Yvonne was already out with the promotions team. Whitney wasn't a good fit. She was too blunt. Fiona from editorial was even worse. He sighed. The boss would have to handle this one himself. At 10:20 a.m., Cole arrived on the 33rd floor of the gallery's office tower. He found Suite 3320 and rang the doorbell. A moment later, Vanessa opened the glass door. Today she was wearing an orange turtleneck sweater with a knee-length, light gray skirt. And, of course, the black stockings. The moment she saw him, a grateful smile spread across her face. Cole, you're here. Come in. He stepped inside. There was a small, empty reception desk. To the left was a meeting area cluttered with boxes and miscellaneous items. It's a bit messy. Please don't mind, Vanessa said, a little embarrassed. Did you just move in, Ms. Fan? Yes, I rented out the larger office over there. Cole's eyes flashed. What did that mean? Did she? On the whole floor? There was another door to the left of the meeting area. He followed Vanessa through it into a smaller office, which had yet another door inside it, probably a makeshift break room. After they sat down, Vanessa handed him a bottle of water and started talking about the buffet's performance over the past year. So, Cole, what do you think I should do? Vanessa asked, her gaze now holding a measure of respect. She was discovering that this young man was insightful and always hit the nail on the head. Ms. Fan, same as with Jordan's Lounge. Advertise on headline today. You're surrounded by universities. It would be a waste not to promote your business to them, Cole said, getting straight to the point. In the name, when we promote it, we'll make sure to add in barbecue and other options in bold, eye-catching text. We'll use our ad copy to build a strong impression. Cole was confident that Vanessa had already looked into headline today's influence. Otherwise, she wouldn't have called him here. Can you achieve the same results you got for the Orchid Lounge? I can't give you a 100% guarantee, but I'll do my best. College students are always going on dates and having group gatherings. I'll tailor a campaign that's perfect for them. Will my restaurants need to? Vanessa started to ask, but she was cut off by the doorbell. Ding dong. Ding dong, a girl's voice called out, Mom, open the door. Her again? Cole groaned inwardly. But what happened next was even more frustrating. Vanessa's face fell, and she stammered, Cole, can you hide for a second? Lynn, she still has some misunderstandings about you. Huh? Cole was dumbfounded. Misunderstanding about what? Cole, there's no time. Please help me out. She grew up without a father and has a very difficult temper. I don't want to fight with her, Vanessa pleaded. Cole couldn't bear to see her so distressed. Thinking of the potential revenue, he agreed. Fine, but where do I hide? He scanned the room. There was just a desk and 2 chairs. Quick, follow me. By now, the doorbell was ringing nonstop. Vanessa was on the verge of panic. Cole felt like a criminal as he followed her into the inner room. It held a full-sized bed and a 3-door wardrobe, and the air was thick with a floral fragrance. He thought he'd be safe in here, but then Vanessa turned to him with an embarrassed expression. Cole, you have to get in here. She opened the wardrobe door. What the F-U-C-K? Cole's mind went blank. I'm here to sell ads, not to be the other man in an affair. The doorbell was still ringing, now accompanied by the sound of someone knocking on the glass door. Vanessa's face was a mixture of apology and sheer panic. Cole, feeling a pang of pity, had no choice but to step into the wardrobe, which was filled with hanging clothes. Thankfully, there were no shelves. He had to crouch, tuck his neck, and stand sideways just to fit. This is bullshit, Cole cursed internally. Don't make a sound, and don't come out, Vanessa whispered before shutting the door. He heard her footsteps recede, followed by her complaining voice. What is it? I was just taking a little nap, and you have to come and bother me. Cole huddled in the pitch-black wardrobe, not daring to breathe. The closet was overwhelmingly fragrant, and something soft was tickling his nose, making him want to sneeze. He held his breath, steadied himself, and reached out to grab whatever it was. It was soft and thin, with no underwire. A large cup size, but probably not as big as Luna's. Lynn's voice entered the room along with her footsteps. If you were napping, why aren't the covers turned down? It was just a quick nap. Why would I turn down the covers? What are you doing here? Vanessa followed her in. Just came to see you. A man and a woman talking business alone. I was worried you'd get taken advantage of. What are you imagining? The man is a perfect gentleman, and I'm a grown woman. Hasn't he arrived yet? He said maybe this afternoon. Oh. Lynn's footsteps approached the wardrobe door, and Cole held his breath. He was filled with regret. Why had he agreed to this? If she pulled open that door, he could only imagine the fallout. Where's Yuan? Vanessa asked, her voice surprisingly calm. In the car. Why did you leave him in the car? He'll scratch up the seats. Go get him now. Vanessa's tone shifted, and she snapped, Go. Okay, I'm going. A few seconds later, he heard footsteps moving away from the wardrobe and out of the room. Vanessa's heels clicked away as well, followed by the sound of the glass door opening. Cole finally let out a huge sigh of relief. Holy hell, that was beyond awkward. He was getting all the anxiety of an affair with none of the fun. Ms. Fan, you'd better compensate me for this. $100,000 ad, it seems about right. As he was thinking this, the sound of heels returned. The wardrobe door opened to reveal Vanessa's apologetic face. I'm so sorry, Cole. I'm so sorry to put you through that. I really had no other choice. It's fine. The closet's just a bit small. Otherwise, I could have taken a nap in there, Cole joked as he stepped out. A bra, knocked loose, fell and slapped him in the face. They both froze in awkward silence. Cole, I'm sorry. Please, go back to your office for now. Take freight elevator number 2. It's to the right, and then another right at the end of the hall, Vanessa said, her voice full of apology. I'll come to your office this afternoon to sign the contract. The deal is on. I trust you. On? The deal was on? Cole's spirits lifted. He puffed out his chest. Great, Ms. Fan. Don't worry. I'll make sure your daughter doesn't see me. I'll be waiting for you this afternoon. Sweet. Another ad contract in the bag. The portfolio for Headline Today was getting more impressive by the day, which would make Yvonne's job much easier. Today's humiliation was worth it. Okay, good. I'll be there around 2. Just have the contract ready, Vanessa said, her eyes unintentionally flicking toward the wardrobe, where a bra was now hanging askew. A faint blush colored her cheeks. Great, I'll be going then, Ms. Fan. See you this afternoon. See you this afternoon. Under Vanessa's soft gaze, Cole left the office, found a freight elevator exactly where she said it would be, and managed to leave the gallery without running into Lynn. It had been a close call. Back at Eastwood University, he didn't go to the office. He went straight to his dorm to take a nap and try to erase the lingering resentment of having been stuffed in a closet. He walked into the room and was startled to see Frank staring at the wall, his eyes bloodshot. Are you turning into a zombie? Cole asked warily. No, I feel like my soul has ascended, Frank said, his face expressionless. He pointed at his computer screen. Behold, 20,000 words are complete. 20,000 words. Cole was stunned. He walked over and saw a folder containing 10 chapter documents. How was that possible? It was almost unbelievable. He clicked open the first chapter and started reading. Half an hour later, he looked up and gave Frank a thumbs up. Damn, dude, this is impressive. In a single night, Frank had churned out 20,000 words. His reborn protagonist was a master of every musical instrument, could sing, dance, rap, write songs, and compose music. He systematically humiliated his ex-girlfriend and the douchebag she left him for, all while the campus queen fell madly in love with him. It was a seamless torrent of wish fulfillment and revenge. So, is it any good? Frank asked, breathing heavily. It's good. Really good, Cole said with a firm nod. For 2010, this was high-quality stuff. Even in the years to come, it would attract a solid fan base. Go submit it on Headline Today. I already talked to the editorial department. Just message them on Facebook Messenger and give them your name. Okay, I'll do it right now, Frank said, a flicker of excitement in his bloodshot eyes. Cole didn't tell him to get some rest. A man hell-bent on revenge doesn't sleep. He had a feeling this story was going to be a hit, which was great news for the fiction section. After a short nap and a quick bite at the cafeteria, Cole headed to their office in the venture lab. He had the contract ready before 1:30. Cole, did you land another ad client? Fiona, the editor, asked, munching on snacks as she watched him bustle around. Yeah, no thanks to you for helping. Cole shot back a look. Now that her own short stories were taking off, Fiona was getting a bit cocky. Maybe it was time to lower her per-click payout. I don't know anything about contracts. Besides, I have to review your roommate's manuscript, Fiona said, her words muffled by the crunching of chips. What do you think of it? Cole asked. It's okay. I'm not an expert on male-oriented fiction, but the emotions feel raw. Fiona nodded like an old pro. Raw emotion is all that matters. The rest is just details, Cole said, reviewing the changes he'd made to the contract. Isn't he a little too perfect? He can do everything. Is your story about billionaire CEOs and wealthy heiresses realistic? Fair point. 5 minutes past 2, their client finally arrived. Sorry I'm late, Cole. I got held up at the Eastwood gate, Vanessa said apologetically. Lynn was with her, silent, and eyeing Cole with extreme suspicion. No problem is. Fan. I just finished getting it ready, Cole said with a smile. Vanessa was quite considerate, apologizing for being only 5 minutes late. It showed she was professional and respected his time. That made for a reliable business partner. They sat down in the small conference room. After Cole explained the advertising fees and strategy, Vanessa carefully reviewed the contract. Cole, she said with a smile, I'll start with an $8,000 deposit. If you can double my restaurant's revenue in 1 month, I'll add another $8,000. She understood the importance of a sustained campaign. You had to spend money to make money. $10,000 or $20,000 was nothing for 2 restaurants. Rent and utilities alone cost a fortune. If this worked, she wouldn't mind continuing to invest. Of course, that all depended on whether Headline Today's influence could truly extend beyond the campus grounds. Ms. Fan, rest assured, I will do my absolute best. I'll have a full proposal ready within 3 days for your review. Perfect. I have confidence in your work, Cole. Thank you for your trust, Ms. Fan, Cole said, extending his hand. Of course you trust me, he thought. I hid a closet for you. As they shook hands, Lynn stared daggers at their joined hands. Luckily, it was a brief handshake, or her glare might have set his hand on fire. Cole pretended not to notice. Honestly, does she think her mom is prettier than my girls? He personally escorted Vanessa and her daughter downstairs. The very next morning, he sent Whitney and her team to do an on-site visit. Having learned from the lounge bar campaign, Whitney had a solid grasp of the advertising strategy. Less than 3 days later, the final ad copy was ready. In the meantime, Cole had sent the editorial and advertising departments to the Caspian Grill to act as customers and stage a group dinner for photos. He reviewed the final product and felt confident that he could trust Whitney to handle it. Vanessa was also very pleased with the ads. The campaign for the Caspian Grill and Buffet officially went live. For now, the keywords seafood and barbecue were dominated by Caspian. That would change in the future, of course. It was an auction. Whoever paid the most got the top spot. At the Eastwood University School of Arts, Leo Liu, the president of the Street Dance Club, was trying to figure out where to take his members for a group dinner. The club was a melting pot of students from all over the country with wildly different tastes. There was a girl from the South who loved spicy food, a guy from California who couldn't handle any heat at all, and a guy from Boston with a sweet tooth. It was giving Leo a massive headache. They tried other restaurants, but there was always someone who couldn't find anything to eat. As he was scrolling through Headline Today, a headline caught his eye. WE found the perfect spot for your next group dinner. Something for everyone. No more fighting over what to eat. The Caspian Grill and Buffet, $15/person. Show this headline today, coupon code, and get $5 off. You have to be rolled out the door. Only $10 a person? Leo's interest was piqued. He clicked on the article and saw a photo series of 7 or 8 students enjoying a meal. The screen was filled with pictures of a dazzling array of dishes. Could it really be that cheap? Leo was skeptical. Normally, a seafood buffet cost at least $30 to $40, and this place was at the Gallery of all places. Leo had heard of it, but had never gone, assuming that a place at the Gallery would be upwards of $45. Who could afford that? But for this price, it was worth a shot. He immediately sent a message to the dance club's group chat. Like Leo, students at other universities were planning group dinners and dates. It was an especially perfect idea for dorm mixers. That night, both locations of the Caspian Grill and Buffet were swamped. They were packed to capacity, with a line stretching out the door. Reservations were booked solid for the next 3 days. When business was slow, the 2 restaurants felt cavernously empty. When it was booming, they couldn't hold a fraction of the demand. 3 days later, Vanessa called and added another $8,000 to her ad budget. Cole was so happy he could have grinned from ear to ear. He specifically assigned Whitney to follow up and take photos of the packed restaurants, creating more material to support Yvonne's sales efforts. That evening, Yvonne returned to the office looking dejected. For the past few days, she'd been negotiating with the owner of a local makeup chain, but hadn't been able to close the deal. Her confidence was shaken. Is the owner a man or a woman? How old? Cole asked with a smile. A woman. In her 40s, divorced, no kids. She's a brick wall, Yvonne said, frustrated. Is her business doing well? Not great, but not terrible either. Just sort of getting by. Her main customers are young moms. How many stores? 8. All in the basements of major shopping centers. It's a budget brand. So affordable prices. Right. It's not a major brand. It's called Viridian Fields. Never heard of it. Cole frowned. A name like that was destined to fail. The only similar brand he knew of that made it big was Origins. Okay, what about the other businesses? A chain of fried chicken places is considering it. A chain of arcades and 2 hot pot restaurants are also interested, but they all want to wait and see. Exactly. I get it. Keep following up with them. I'll go check out this Viridian Fields tonight, Cole said thoughtfully. Want me to come with you? No. What if she recognizes you? All right. Around 5 o'clock, Cole sent a message to Jasmine. Her perspective was always sharp. Maybe she could help him find a few more weaknesses to exploit. A few minutes later, she replied, Cole, I already made plans with Alex and some of the girls to go buy lingerie. It's a girls-only thing. Oh, Cole thought for a moment, then sent a message to Serena. Come with me somewhere tonight. We can get hot pot afterward. Serena's powers of observation were also excellent. She replied almost instantly. Can we do it tomorrow night? Kiss emoji, I have class tonight. Okay, some other time then. Cole sighed. What terrible timing. That left Luna. It made more sense to take a girl to investigate a makeup brand anyway. He sent her a message. Lou, come out with me for a bit. 2 minutes later, Luna replied. Okay, I just got out of class. I'll change and come down. Sounds good. Thank goodness Luna didn't have class. Otherwise, he would have had to take Yvonne. But taking Luna was good, too. She was very observant. Half an hour later, Cole met Luna downstairs from the accounting department's dorm. Her hair was pulled back in a low ponytail, and her face was lit up with a happy smile. She was wearing a loose, mid-length, light gray turtleneck sweater that perfectly covered her rear, a style she favored after a shopping trip he'd taken her on. She knew her, but was big and always chose longer tops. A large coat over it all concealed her ample chest. Cole, the master thief, stole a few glances, a fire igniting within him. All the other women he saw out in the world seemed dull in comparison. Nothing beat his own pure, natural beauty. He just hadn't seen her true form yet. When would he? Seeing Cole's sneaky gaze, Luna's face flushed pink. Even though he'd snuck countless glances at her, it still made her feel shy, mixed with a tiny thrill of pride. Let's go, Lou, Cole said, holding out his hand. A soft, smooth little hand slipped into his. It got dark early in the winter, and by 6 o'clock, the sky was already black. They walked along the campus greenway toward the main gate. As always, Luna attracted stares. The trees blocked the streetlights, obscuring her face but not her figure. As for Cole, people just knew he was a guy. All they could give him were looks of envy and jealousy. Just as they got in a cab and headed for the Ocean View Galleria, Jasmine, Alex, and 3 other girls were walking out of the Eastwood Tech campus gate. Jasmine, should we shop first and then eat, or the other way around? Alex asked. I'm good with whatever. What do you guys want to do? Jasmine said, looking at the other 3 girls from the dance team. Let's eat first. I'm starving, one of them said. All right, eat first, then shop, Alex decided. Let's go to Ocean View. The Ocean View Galleria had opened in 2007, and even now, it was still a bustling place. It was packed with people, with shoppers forming long lines just to get on the escalators. On the way over, Cole had explained the plan to Luna. As always, she was perfectly okay with it. She was happy to go anywhere with him. They started by walking around the first floor. There were tons of makeup brands, mostly low to mid-range. Tucked away in a corner, they found Viridian Fields. The counter was about 300 square feet and staffed by 2 employees, but there were no customers. This wasn't surprising, given the fierce competition. When they walked in, a saleswoman approached them. Miss, for your skin type. The woman, who was in her 30s, began, but her words trailed off. For a moment, she couldn't find a single flaw on the girl's face to target. After a few seconds of silence, she continued. You could try this moisturizing lotion. It's perfect for the dry winter weather. I'm not sure yet. Can I just look around for a bit? Luna felt nervous under the woman's intense sales pressure, her expression slightly pained. She hated turning people down. Yeah, we're just going to look for now. We'll let you know if we see something we like, Cole interjected. He had no intention of buying anything here. He was already planning on buying high-end sets for all 3 of his girls. Well, let me know, the saleswoman said, her enthusiasm dropping by at least half. Customers like this rarely ended up buying anything. Cole scanned the prices. They really weren't expensive. Viridian Fields was one of the most affordable brands here. The fact that it still had no customers meant the problem was either in their marketing or a complete lack thereof. This was a classic conflict between a brand and its distributors. The local franchisee didn't want to spend money on advertising that would benefit other locations, and if the parent brand didn't provide support, it became a vicious cycle. Headline Today, which specifically targeted the local universities, was the perfect solution for these franchisees. Affordable makeup and skincare had universal appeal for college students. The cost was low, and the results were good enough. All it needed was a reason for people to get excited about it. Cole's mind was already racing, piecing together the advertising keywords for Viridian Fields. "Let's go, Lou," Cole said, taking Luna's hand. They left the counter under the indifferent gazes of the two employees and wandered around the area, checking the customer traffic and prices at other stores. It didn't take long for him to get a clear picture. Besides its price, Viridian Fields had no other advantages. He now had a solid strategy for convincing the owner. "Lou, let's go get something to eat. What are you in a mood for?" Cole put work aside, his hand tightening around her slim waist. "I'm okay with anything." The mall was crowded and brightly lit, and being held like this still made Luna a little shy. "Let's get steak, then." Cole hadn't had a proper steak dinner in a long time. In his future life, nobody cared about that stuff anymore, but in this era, it was still considered a sophisticated dining experience. He wanted Luna to experience it, to broaden her social horizons. Luna immediately grew anxious, her face flushing red. "Don't worry, I'm here," Cole said, knowing exactly what she was worried about. He gently pulled her closer. "Okay." Luna instantly felt at ease. That was right. Cole was with her. After asking a nearby salesperson for directions, they headed up to the 4th floor. Just as they were riding the escalator to the 2nd floor, Cole's eyes narrowed, and his heart leaped into his throat. Ahead of them, he saw the back of a girl in a group of women. It was too familiar. The top knot, that specific coat. But he couldn't be sure. The chances of running into them at the same mall, miles from campus, had to be astronomically low. It was probably just a coincidence, someone who looked like her. That's what he told himself, anyway. In reality, he could identify Jasmine in a 1/10 of a second. And she him. Without a word, he quickly steered Luna toward the escalator going up to the 3rd floor, keeping his pace casual, so she wouldn't suspect anything. If he suddenly announced they had to leave, she would definitely know something was wrong. Playing the part of both the scoundrel and the gentleman, Cole was the picture of calm. They made it to the men's department on the 4th floor, where a few restaurants were scattered about. He led Luna into a steakhouse. Fortune favors the bold. The most dangerous place is the safest place. There were several of them. They probably wouldn't choose to eat at a steakhouse. They were more likely to spend hours browsing the women's clothing on the 2nd and 3rd floors. He'd eat quickly and get out, offending no one. Perfect. He chose a booth against the wall. Luna initially sat across from him, but seeing her nervous fidgeting, Cole patted the seat next to him. "Why don't you sit over here?" he said with a smile. "Okay." Luna's eyes lit up. She happily slid in next to him, tucked away in a corner with him. Her sense of security soared. "Good evening. Are you ready to order?" a waitress asked, her gaze lingering on Luna's face with a hint of awe. "Yes," Cole said, ordering a set meal for Luna and a glass of juice. Just as he was about to speak, a group of girls walked past the window by the aisle. He recognized Jasmine's voice in their chatter. His scalp prickled. It can't be. What are the odds? He lifted his water glass, pretending to take a sip while his eyes darted outside. It was her. Luckily, she didn't look in. The group walked past, still talking. The heart that had been lodged in Cole's throat finally dropped back into his chest. It was Luna's first time in a steakhouse, and she looked around with wide, curious eyes. She didn't think the food was very good. Even the soup tasted strange. While they waited for their steaks, they talked about her accounting classes. Cole reached out and took her hand. Her long, delicate fingers immediately intertwined with his. Holding her hand like this, with their fingers interlaced, felt deeply satisfying to him. He subtly rested the back of his hand on her thigh, preparing for his next move. With their hands tightly clasped, Luna felt safe and comfortable. The hand on her thigh only brought a faint blush to her cheeks. But Cole, the lecher, immediately revealed his true intentions. He swapped his hands, freeing his right. He flipped it over, palm down. The fabric of her jeans was taut, the muscle beneath firm and elastic. The sensation of his palm was completely different from the back of his hand. A jolt went through Luna's entire body. Her face instantly turned beet red, like a ripe apple, the blush spreading behind her ears and down her neck. She knew what he was doing. She just prayed he wouldn't move it, at least not any higher. He didn't move it higher. Instead, his hand began to gently rub back and forth. The sensation made Luna lean her head against his shoulder, too flustered to look up. Shy but compliant, she watched his hand's small movements. It wasn't until the sizzling steaks arrived that Cole shamelessly withdrew his hand, transforming back into a perfect gentleman. He showed Luna how to cut her steak and then let her do it herself. They were just playing with their food, really. It wasn't a place worth frequenting. Hot Pot was much more satisfying. The meal ended, a mix of anxiety and pleasure. Luna's face was glowing with happiness. Cole, though outwardly calm, was eager to pay the bill and get out of there. He had to escape. He led Luna out of the steakhouse. For safety, he walked beside her but didn't put his arm around her. Just as they rounded the corner from the restaurant entrance, they ran head-on into a familiar face. Alex. Their eyes met. Hey, Cole, what are you doing here? Hey, Alex, what are you doing here? One of them was genuinely surprised. The other was faking it. Cole's heart was pounding, but his face remained a mask of calm. I'm here with your sister and the girls. What are you doing here? Alex's gaze darted back and forth between Cole and Luna. She didn't know Luna, and her mind was already racing with suspicion. Is this bastard two-timing her? Oh God, we're all gonna die. In an instant, Alex envisioned the world ending in a fiery explosion. Jasmine was going to kill someone. I was checking out a makeup brand on the first floor for a potential client. We just grabbed a bite to eat, Cole said, his heart hammering like a drum, but his expression was placid. He was confident that Luna, sweet and obedient as she was, wouldn't say anything to contradict him. Alex looked at him, half believing, and turned to Luna. And you are? Oh, this is the accountant for our company, Cole said casually. Hello, Luna said, offering a polite greeting. A strange light flickered in her eyes before vanishing. Alex nodded and said hello back. Then she turned to Cole. Wait here. I'm going to get your sister. Between Cole and Jasmine, her loyalty was clear. It didn't matter if he was the boss. Oh, okay. I was actually just about to talk to her about something, Cole nodded. Alex walked past them, giving Luna a thorough up-and-down look, her eyes lingering for a second on Luna's chest. Lou, we'll just wait a minute. Director Yang is here eating, too, Cole said with a smile. Internally, he was thanking his lucky stars he hadn't been holding her hand or had his arm around her. Okay, Luna said, a gentle look in